Hi guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, we're going to be learning finger picking etude number 20. So generally with our etude series, we're, as you heard, up to number 20. Etudes usually focus on one topic, so one subject matter. For example, I may write an etude that helps you with bar chords, which I did, and it's in the description box below if you want to check that one out. But with this etude, I thought it'd be kind of cool to do something different. So I wanted to write a piece of music that was geared for the mid-level intermediate player. So not the beginner intermediate, not the advanced intermediate, but right smack dab in the middle. And what this piece of music had to have was a culmination of everything you learned as a beginner player up to that mid-level intermediate player. So this is kind of like a giant compilation of the techniques that you've picked up, different playing styles, just a mix of all of that. Now, if you want to see how I define the beginner, intermediate, and advanced player, and what each level should be working on and have under their belt before advancing to the next level, click this link right here. But let's go ahead and jump into talking about what this piece of music has encased in it. So the first thing that this song kicks off with is a single note melody. And playing single notes is something that's really important because we want to make sure at this point in our playing that our single notes have a clear, pronounced punch to them. So we want the melody notes to ring true, ring clear. No matter if we play on strings 3 and 4 or if we play on string 1 and 2. So that's kind of the idea behind the first part of this tune, was to give you a single note melody line that covers all 4 strings, plus breaks you away from playing only melody notes at the beginning of the neck. So we're going to take advantage of the whole scale length of the neck. So really cool stuff. Now the next thing that this tune goes into is basic chords. So the stuff that you learn on day one of picking up your instrument, for example, that stock G chord. So this song kicks off right after the intro, playing these stock chords, but we're going to be finger picking out of them, and we're going to be playing a chord melody out of them. Now after that, this song takes those chords, moves them up the neck so that you're playing higher voice chords. So it borrows from our lesson on the caged method. So if you've never heard that, I'll put a link in the description box below to what the caged method is. But in a nutshell, it teaches you how to take these basic chord shapes, play them higher up the neck until they become other chords. And what's really cool about that is that you can break away from, again, playing only here, but once you start to learn how to move these chords up, for example, this is a C. If you're at a jam situation with someone and they're playing the basic C here, you can create a nice harmony by playing the chord up here instead of copying them with the basic chord. Lastly, I wanted to incorporate some strumming with these chords as well. So we're going to be mixing strumming with some percussive technique. We have a little bit of chucking in there, and we have a few little advanced things thrown in, just kind of like the little icing on the cake. So we have some percussive body hit taps that we're going to be doing on the body of the ukulele, as well as a harmonic. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about this lesson. So in this lesson, we're going to be learning the first half of the tune. If you guys want to learn the second half, you can click this link right here or go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for finger picking etude number 20. And also on that page, you'll be able to get the tabs that you can print off and follow along with as a PDF format, as well as access the on-screen tab viewer. Now, this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a really great asset for learning this song that much easier. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump into talking about this lesson. And one thing that I'm going to be talking about as we go through it are some of the things that you want to be thinking about when you start to transition from this mid-level intermediate player to an advanced player. And those are going to be the subtleties of your playing. So it's not enough to play only the correct notes, only the correct chords. What's really important is how you're playing those notes and chords. So how we are getting emotion and feeling out of our playing. So those are the little bit of the tidbits I'll be throwing in. We'll be highlighting how to play each section so we can get more feeling out of our playing. And there's actually another lesson that we shot with a live lesson. We do a monthly live lesson every month. Matt shot a lesson on this subject matter, subject matter, and I'll put a link in the description box below if you're new to this kind of concept and approach to playing. But we'll be talking about it as we go through it. First thing we want to know is that this is in 3/4. So we have 3 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat. Now as we go through this, we're going to be counting out rhythms as well. So if you're new to understanding rhythmic notation, counting rhythms, I'll put an introductory lesson on that in the description box below. But the best way to really understand how rhythm and timing connect is to learn to read standard notation. So check out this full-length course that dives deep into learning to read music. All right, so with the first melody, we're kicking off on melody A. The first 8 bars of this melody is going to be lower pitch, while the next 8 bars of it will take the same melody and play it an octave up, so a higher pitch. So the first part is going to be predominantly all, or not predominantly, it's pretty much all on strings 3 and 4. So let me play the first couple bars and then we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the finger picking technique that we're using as well. Okay, so let's just take up to there. So there's the first couple bars. Now the first thing that you recognize is that we are playing this tune on a low G ukulele, so really important that you have a low G. You can do it on high G, but it's not going to sound right. It's going to sound kind of awkward here and there, especially on parts like this where we're really relying on that lower pitch 4th string. So definitely a tune that I recommend for high G. Sorry, low G. Low G. One that I recommend for low G. Okay, so first part, here's just bar number 1. So we've got a few notes. The first thing that we notice is we have a slide into the first note. This is what's known as a grace note. So we're going to be sliding in. Bum. We're going to be sliding 6 to 7 on string 3. Okay, so when I'm counting this, I have 1, 2, 3, bum. So I pretty much want to slide in on the beat. So 1. So I don't want to slide before the beat, I want to slide in on the beat. Okay? So that's the first thing I want you guys to think about is getting this grace note. And this grace note is kind of, they basically mean you're adding flourish to the note. So instead of just going, right, we can add a little bit of flourish. That's one of the little subtle things that you can do to make your playing sparkle a little bit more. So we're sliding 6 to 7. Now here's the thing that we're playing out of. We're really playing out of these box shapes. We have 6, 7, 8, 9. Right now we're only playing strings 4 and 3, but you see each finger gets its own fret. So when I slide 6 to 7, I'm sliding in with the middle finger because we're playing out of this position, this box shape of fret 6 to 9. Okay, so each finger gets its own fret, and when we do that approach to playing, we have a lot of efficiency in our left hand. Okay, so I'm going to slide in 6 to 7, then I'm going to go back to 6 with my index finger, right, think of the box, and then I'm going to go to the 9th fret of string 4 with my pinky. Okay, so I have ba-da-dum, rhythmic-wise, 1 and 2 and 3. So we have a dotted quarter for the first hit, 1 and 2 and 3. 8th followed by quarter, 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, now let's talk about picking approach. I'm going to be using piccato technique, which is an alternate finger picking technique. So you're alternating middle finger, index finger. So if you take that open C, alternating second, first, second, first, second, first. Now for the 4th string, I'm going to be using my thumb. So I'm not going to be doing all piccato for both strings. I'm going to be doing piccato for string 3, using thumb for string 4. Now, if you're new to piccato, I'm going to put a link to our lesson on La Gitanita. It's in the description box below. It's a flamenco tune, and that lesson covers the mechanics behind the technique in much greater detail. But let's see if we can try this first bar together. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Let's try again. And I'll count 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Nice. After this, we're going to keep these fingers where they are. Still think of it as the box from 6 to 9. Next, you're going to take the middle finger, put it on 7 on string 4, and then go back with your pinky to 9 on string 4. Now, rhythmically wise, we have a half, 1, 2, followed by a quarter, 3. Okay, so I have 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Pretty simple, right? Let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Nice. Now with all of these melody notes, we want to make sure that we're plucking them with enough force, not super hard so it's like really abrupt sounding, but enough force so that each note rings crisp and clear. Okay, now here's the cool thing. We're literally going to do this exact same right hand picking and left hand movement playing out of the same box, same shape. We're literally doing the exact same thing, but we're just going to move it down a whole step. So you can see that if I go down a whole step, I'm just sliding in, and then I have the exact same everything, right and left hand. So literally copy paste what you do here, move it down a whole step, and you've got the next couple bars. So next couple bars, slide in 4 to 5, go back with the index finger to 4, then 7 on string 4, then 5, and then back to 7. Same rhythm, same everything. 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so really, really simple. That gives us now the first 4 bars. So let's see if we can give that one a shot. So bars 1 to 4. Here we go. 1, 2, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Nice. Now, as you probably guessed, something's going to happen where we do the same movement down and we have the same right and left hand. So literally go down, again, another whole step. And you're going to do the exact same thing. So starting 2 to 3. So basically all you notice that the boxes just moved down by whole steps, right? So we started on 6 to 9, then we went 4 to 7, and now we're at 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 to 5, right? So that's all that's happening, is that we're dropping our position down by a whole step, okay? So 2 to 3, okay? And you see that time too, if you want, you can piccato everything. Gives it a much more brighter, punchier tone for every note. It's kind of cool. Versus using thumb for string 4. So, all these tunes that I show you guys, take them and experiment a little bit. You can adapt it to your playing style, so you're kind of taking it and making it your own. So let's see if we can try those first 3 together, and then we'll learn the last couple bars to finish it up. So here we go, those first 6 bars. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Now from here we've got a partial bar chord, so a D. So for this one, lay flat on 5 strings, 1 and 2. Middle finger goes on 6 on string 3. Ring is 7 on string 4. We're literally just going to walk down. So we're going 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so rhythmically wise, bar 7, quarter notes, 1, 2, 3. Bar 8 is a dotted half. Okay, so really simple. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now let's backtrack. Let's try 1 through 8, all the way through. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Done. So really, really cool. Now, if that is going any bit too fast for you, you can use these directions to slow down the YouTube player. But the on-screen tab viewer, which was available for premium members, that's going to be the best way because you can set it incrementally to whatever speed you need, and you can loop sections. So if you want to loop a couple bars at a time, you can definitely do that. Okay, so let's talk about what happens next. So that's our first 8 bars. So that's half of melody A for the most part. We can think of that as like the first half of melody A. So the second half is going to take that same melody and just move it up an octave. So all that means is, for example, if you were to play the open G on the 4th string, and you want to play an octave higher than that, you can play the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So you can hear it's the same pitch, but one is lower, one is higher. So this time around, as we saw the first 8 bars, we were highlighting strings 4 and 3. This time around, we're going to be working off strings 1 and 2. Now, another tip that I didn't mention in the beginning is these dots on the top of the neck. They're also ingrained in the fretboard right here. These dots are kind of like your guiding light. So memorize the dots as they really, really do help you, especially when we're jumping around as much as we are, especially for this little intro part. Unfortunately, every uke isn't uniform in the way they do the dot layout. Sometimes the first dot starts on the 3rd fret, like my uke. Sometimes it starts on the 5th fret, so take a look at what you have. But if we base it off what I have, 3, 5, 7, 10, double dot is 12. So get those memorized, they help you jump around a lot. And don't look at don't pivot the uke like that to look at them there. Do remember that they are up top as well, so you can keep in proper position, proper holding position. Okay, so here is the first couple bars. It's the same melody, same rhythm, but now we're playing off of string 1 and 2. Okay, so my same approach for the right hand is going to hold true for this. I'm going to piccato string 1 and use my thumb for string 2. But again, if you want to piccato all of it, you definitely can. I think it's, for me, easier to do a hybrid. So this thing has the same movement. These next 8 bars, they have the same, or 6 bars actually, the first 6. These next 6 bars have the same movement. Where it goes down by whole steps. So literally once you get the first one down, you just copy and paste, okay? So we'll breeze through this part. So we're gonna start with the ring finger, and this time around, we're gonna break out of that box analogy. And I'm gonna give you a good reason why we're gonna do that. But we're also still playing in a box, so now it's getting confusing, right? We're playing strings 2 and 1. We're playing 7 to 10. So if we think of the box analogy, each finger should get its own fret. Kind of like that. But what happens is that our pinky finger, it is the weakest of these 4 fingers, right? And that's a good reason to use it, to strengthen it. But the reality is that the 3rd finger is much, much stronger. And I feel like with the 3rd finger, we can get a better, punchier timbre out of it than we can with the pinky. It definitely takes a lot more strength with the pinky, but I think with this ring finger, it just feels so much easier. So for this, I would recommend, instead of using your pinky for that 10th fret, sub it out for your 3rd finger, okay? So basically, anytime we have the 10th fret, we're gonna sub it out for the ring. Anytime we have the 9th fret, we're gonna sub it out for the middle finger. And then the 7th fret will be the index. So we're kind of making our own fingering for this box. So it would be index playing everything on 7, middle would play everything on 9, ring would play everything on 10. And we don't have anything on 8, so we can just forget about that fret, okay? So for this, I'm going to start on 9, slide up to 10, so same little grace note. After that, I'm going to come back, play 9 with my middle, and then use my index for 7. That gives me that 9th bar, 1 and 2 and 3. After that, I'm going to take the ring, put it on 10 on string 2, and then play 7 again on string 1. So that covers bars 9 and 10, same rhythm as before. 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. The other thing too is you can keep those fingers anchored so that those notes ring into each other. Sounds really, really cool. So that's another little subtlety tip, is that we can have a nice sustain where those notes blend into each other. All right, so let's give those 2 bars a shot. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Now, same approach as before, just move it down a whole step. So you're going to go 7 to 8. 7, 5, 8, 5, so that's the next one. Down a whole step gives you the next couple bars. So 5 to 6. Okay. And then we're actually going to be ending on the D again, so that partial bar chord. But this time around, we're going to go up. Okay, and what I like to do for this is I like to do actually a little strum. And I'm going to do a little strum, and I do a really interesting technique where I strum with my index finger, the nail of my index finger, 4, 3, 2, and I pluck with my middle finger, the first string. And what that does is that it highlights the melody note. So that first string is our melody note. So it really highlights it because you're plucking it at a slightly louder volume than your strum. Sounds really cool. So I actually talk about the mechanics behind that in a bit more detail in our lesson on Aura Lee, and I'll put a link in the description box below to the YouTube video on that, exactly where it starts in the video. I think it's 6 minutes and 18 seconds in, but I'll put that little link there, and it talks a little bit more and gives you a different angle so you can see this little flick approach for strumming. So a really cool way to highlight the melody note in a strum. So these are the last couple bars for this section, bar 15 and 16. So it's going to be strum, and then we're just going to walk up. So second string, third string, fourth string. So we have strum, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So basically the opposite of what we did last time. But if we put all that together, let's see if we can try 9 through 16. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Done. So really, really cool section. So not super hard, but the big takeaway of this is getting that punch and that clarity in our single notes, and also working on breaking away from playing only single notes up here in the beginning of the neck. So we want to get comfortable playing throughout the span of the neck. So really cool stuff to work on for that first section. Now, there are a few more bars. There's actually 4 more bars to end this melody A, and this is kind of like our vamped up section before we jump into melody B. So let me play these last 4 bars and then we'll break it down. Very simple, but think about where we left off on. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's pretty much all vamping, which means we're staying on one note. It's the 7th fret of the 4th string. So you can keep that D chord ringing out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you have 3 bars where you're just hitting quarter note of the 4th string. One thing that you can do too is you can start softer and gradually get louder. That's a really cool effect that you can do, kind of builds the momentum. So you can experiment with that, or if you like to keep it just subtle, you can do that as well. So remember, music's always up to you. You're the interpreter. So play it the way that you hear it in your head. So 3 bars of just vamping on the quarter notes. Now on the last bar, so this is bar 20, we're going to do a finger roll followed by taps on the body to give it a bit of percussive element. So it's going to be a quarter note hit. So we're at 1, 2, 3. So in the context, if I play from bar 19, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I want to start, boom. I want to start a little bit before 1 with pinky third, second, first. So it's underneath the sound hole. And it's in quick succession. On beat 2, I'm going to take the hard part of the thumb, tap, and then beat 3, tap again. And if we think about how to play this section, we can also follow that like softer for the taps and then louder for the thumb ones. So this little finger roll softer and then louder, right? So we can kind of build momentum into melody B. So if I put that whole section together, I have, so this is 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. So pretty cool. And you can experiment with those dynamics, so the volume, so softer to louder. So let's try those last 4 bars together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Blah, bum, bah. Nice. So the last tip I'll give too is that you're going to be going into this basic D chord. Now it's just that stock D that you learn when you first start learning chords. I'm going to be doing a different fingering. I'm going to be doing a thumb approach, and I'll talk about that in a second. But as I'm finishing up here, you can see on that last hit, that beat 3 tap, I'm going to be moving my hand so that I can grab that chord and strum on beat 1 in time. So you want to keep that in mind. So you're not just going blah, 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 and then like after that third hit, you're like rushing to get there. You want to move pretty much while that third tap is happening. Okay? So 2, 3, blah, 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 boom. So really work on that little transition. So that gives us everything for our A melody. Now as we jump into the B melody, this is where we're going to take basic chords that we learned at the beginning of our uke day playing D, A, G. Okay, so all those basic chords that we learned at the beginning of our uke studies, but we're going to be finger picking out of them and we're going to be playing a chord melody out of them. So basically chord melody means that we're intertwining a melody into the chords. So let me play a little bit through. I'll play like 8 bars through so you can get the idea of the B melody. And you can hear the finger pick pattern, you can hear the chord melody. And that'll give us a good context for what we're about to learn. Okay, so that gives us a good idea. Now here's what's cool about it. Think of it in 2-bar chunks. So we have 2 bars of D, 2 bars of A, 2 bars of G, and then back to 2 bars of D. Now those first 6 bars, it's basically going to be those 2 bars. The first bar 1 and 2 will have the same rhythm as bar 3 and 4, as bar 5 and 6. And what happens with that as well is that the finger picking of the right hand is pretty much uniform, especially for the first, third, and 5th bar. So keep those in mind. Let's learn this D chord. Now I'm going to be doing a unique approach for fretting this D, and it just fits my playing style. I'm going to use the middle finger for the second fret of string 3, ring underneath that, open A, and then I'm going to reach around with my thumb to grab the 4th string, 2nd fret. So I'm hugging the neck, okay? I'm hugging the neck to do this. And hugging the neck is something that we talk a lot about when it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate in our lesson on proper left hand form. It's not really something that you should be doing if you're using traditional fingering like 1, 2, and 3, or what I'd recommend 2, 3, 4 for this one. You want to have a U-shaped gap. So if you're new to studying what's happening behind the neck when you're fretting chords, be it regular chords, these are our cowboy chords, or if bar chords, partial bar chords, full bar chords. So if you're new to studying the shapes and form, and specifically what's happening behind the neck, not just in front of the neck, then I'd highly encourage you to check out proper left hand form. This lesson goes super in depth in that. But for this, since I'm using the thumb, I'm going to be hugging the neck. Okay, so if you want to do this form, you can hug the neck. The index finger can stick out a little bit because it feels really awkward if you try and curve it in. So it can stick out and curve out a little bit. That's totally cool. Now, if you don't want to do this way, I understand. You can use 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's what I'd recommend. You could do that, but I think it's going to be easier, especially as you transition to the A chord, because your middle finger stays constant. So that's the fingering I would recommend if you don't want to give this thumb reach around a shot. Okay, so here's our first bar. So remember how I said that bar 1, 3, and 5 will have the same finger picking pattern, same rhythm. It's going to be strum 3, 2, 4, rhythmic wise 1, 2, and 3. So if I play bar 1, you can see I have strum 3, 2, 4. If I play bar 3, which is the A chord, strum 3, 2, 4. Okay. If I play the G, which is bar 5, strum 3, 2, 4. It's the same pattern. So I'm using a 3-finger approach for finger picking. Now, there's a couple ways that you can do the 3-finger approach. Most people will do thumb for string 4 and 3, index for the 2nd string, middle for the 1st string, or you could do these 3 fingers. So again, thumb, thumb, middle, ring. It's kind of whichever works best for you. We do have a course on finger picking, so it covers 3 approaches, covers just the thumb, 3-finger, and 4-finger. So I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to dive into a bunch of exercises for each approach. But 3-finger works really great for this. Okay. Now for that strum, there's a couple approaches that you can do as well. So we're talking a little bit about subtleties in this lesson. If you strum down with the nail of the index finger, it's very bright. If you strum instead with the flesh of the thumb, it's warm, it's soft. So you get a totally different timbre. So pick the approach that you like. You can even do that flick approach that I talked about a little bit ago. So we've got the same right hand, same rhythm, strum 3, 2, 4. So that's the first bar. Bar 2 still is on the D, but this time you're going to strum 4 to 2. And I like to do that little flick up strum for this one. So strum 4 to 2, and then lift that ring finger up, play the open E, and then play the 3rd string. So you hear this is where our chord melody comes into play. So it's da da da. So we have strum O, string 3. So strum 4 to 2, open E, string 3. So together, so we have da ba da da. That's the melody, that's the chord melody. The open A for the first bar, and then bar 2, ba da dum. Right? That same little melody, rhythm pattern gets held for the next 4 bars. To G. Okay, so you hear that melody. Da, 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 dum. So pretty cool. So we're mixing finger picking and creating a chord melody. So let's see if we can try this. Let's see if we can try bar 1 and 2 together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Strum 3, 2, 4. Strum 0, 3. Nice. I'm gonna count out rhythms. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. So we're going to the A chord. So we know the right hand's the same. So swap to the A chord. Strum 3, 2, 4. Okay. The fourth bar is going to be the same approach as the second. Strum 4 to 2. And then use your ring finger to play the second fret of string 2. And then play the open A. So you have strum 2, open A. So all quarter notes again for this section. So let's see if we can try 3 and 4. Here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. And backtrack. Let's try bars 1 to 4. 1, 2, go. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Next, we go into the stock G. Same right hand, strum 3, 2, 4. Okay. The 6 bar starts our first ending. So 6, 7, 8. This is ending number 1 because you're going to repeat after the 8th bar and you're going to play bars 1 through 5 and then you're going to go into ending number 2. So keep that in mind. So here's the 6 bar, start of ending 1. So start with that strum of the G. We're going to strum all 4 strings. Lift up the middle, play the open A, play the string 2. The string 2, play the second string. Quarter notes again, right guys? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's backtrack. Let's try bar 5 into 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Now, our 7th bar sounds like this. Remember, this is ending 1. And I lied, I played into 8th bar. So here's an interesting thing. Actually, this 7th bar is the same as bars 1, 3, and 5. So again, you have strum 3, 2, 4. So just make the D chord. Again, I'm doing with the thumb. Same right hand pattern. But as we go into the 8th bar, adding strumming. So take a look at the 8th bar rhythm. 1, 2, and 3. Here's a good rule of thumb. Anytime you have a downbeat, so that's beats 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this song actually doesn't have 4. This song has a 1, 2, 3. You get what I'm going with. If it's 1, 2, 3, you're going to strum down. If it's on the end, so the up beat, you're going to strum up. So that would be the end of 1, end of 2, end of 3. But if you look at this rhythm, we have 1, 2, 3, and we only have one end, which is the end of 2. So that's why you're going down, down, up, down. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm going to put up the strum pattern for this one bar, but at this level when you're playing, that is something that should be intuitive. Okay, so if that's something that you're new to, then really I want you to work on that. Take like the island strum pattern, take some kind of simple strum pattern and really get that idea ingrained into your playing. We actually have a really in-depth lesson in the reading course on the island strum and talking about when you strum down and when you strum up. Basically what I just mentioned, but kind of elaborated upon. Okay, so this, we can just strum all 4 strings. When I strum down, I'm going down with the knell of these 3 fingers, usually these 2 fingers. I have some issues in my index finger, so I kind of avoid it. I'm strumming down, and then when I strum up, I'm going to strum up with the knell of my thumb. Again, if your strum habits hit all 4 strings, that's cool. If they tend to hit maybe 2 or 3 strings, it's fine. So we have down, down, up, down. 1, 2, and 3. So let's give it a shot. Just that bar. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So let's try this. Let's try 1 through 8. And this is going to be ending 1. Remember, 6, 7, and 8 is ending 1. So those 8 bars together. 1, 2, go. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Down, down, up, down. So that whole time I used my nails for strumming. So you hear it has a bright, crisp, kind of sometimes a little bit harsh sound. What if I tried again where I'm using the thumb? So check that out. Right, so beat 1, I was using the thumb to strum down. Really soft, subtle strum sound. So experiment with it. You know, try both approaches and pick the one that you like more. Now, after you get done with that 8th bar, you're going to go back and you're going to repeat bars 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's D, A, first bar of G. So just the strum, 3, 2, 4. Then you're going to go into ending 2. So this is going to be the 6th, 7th, and 8th bar for the second time through. But in reality, for this section, this would be the 14th, 15th, and 16th bar. Okay? If you guys haven't noticed too, I've been calling sections out by what the bar relative to the melody. So if you're following with the tab, you see that we started on bar 21, but I've been referring to it as bar 1. It's a lot easier for me to keep track of where we're at if I call it little sections and start again at 1. So this is the 14th, 15th, and 16th bar to end melody B. So we have a new chord. It's probably not new at this point in your playing. It's a G sus4. So we're going to basically think of the basic G chord, put your pinky down on the 3rd fret of string 1. Okay, so keep the basic G intact, just add your pinky. So keep the middle finger down on the 2nd fret. So we have quarter notes for where we're at. 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be strumming with that G sus4 intact. After that, lift the pinky up, play the 2nd fret, so it's basically a basic G now, and then play the open A. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try that G bar into the G sus4. So this would be 13 into 14. 1, 2, go. 2 and 3. Da, da, da. So cool little variation, right? After that, you're back to the D. So it's the same as the other bar. So we have strum, 3, 2, 4. And then this last bar is almost the same as the 8th bar. But one exception, we're adding a chuck. So we're going to add a chuck on beat 3. So same rhythm, we have down, down, up, down, up. But I'm adding a chuck on that 3rd beat. And when I come up from that, the end of 3, I'm actually going to hit just the 1st string with the nail of my thumb. It's okay if you hit more, but really this is a transition note. Because we're about to jump into melody C, which is a higher voicing of a G chord. Okay, so for this, make the D, we have down, down, up, then we're going to do a chuck. So with this chuck, I'm not going to be doing like I taught in our how to add a backbeat lesson, which involves a claw shape to come down. Because that claw shape implies that we're going to pluck immediately after. So you can see, if I come down with a claw, leaves my fingers, these 4 fingers, in place to pluck. But this time around, we're chucking and we're doing it in a strum way. So I want to be able to come down, but be able to come up to continue strumming. Even though I'm only hitting one string, the first string on that last hit. So when you come down as if it's a strum. Keep it in this claw shape. And it's okay if you hit the strings. You should hit the strings because it mutes it. It's okay if you hit the body, you get a little percussive sound. But you want to keep your hand shape. See, I'm in a strum position to go up with the nail of my thumb. So that's the idea behind this. Down, down, up, chuck, up. Okay, so come down as if it was a strum. You're just touching the strings to mute it. It's okay to hit the body to create an extra percussive sound. And then come up. Okay, so don't do anything like open it and palm, like a high five. Don't palm, high five. You come down with that claw shape as if you were strumming, right? Because you want to be able to come back up and use the nail of the thumb. So let's try this. Let's try 13, 14, 15, 16. So 2 Gs. So the G into the G sus4 into the double Ds. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And. Nice. So that gives us everything for melody B. If I play through that with ending number 2, let's try that actually. Let's try 9 through 16. That way we get a context of what we just covered. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. So remember that melody B repeated, right? So the first 8 bars had its own little ending, then the next 8 bars had its own little ending. So keep that in mind as you work on it. But that's where we're going to be stopping for this lesson. We're going to pick up the part 2 lesson with melody C. And melody C is really cool because we're going to be jumping into that caged method. So learning to move the chords up the neck till they become other chords. And we're going to be, in essence, doing 2 things at once. So 2 birds, 1 stone, right? We're breaking away from playing only here with chords. So we're going to play up higher on the neck. And we're also learning, like I covered in the little intro, you can take those basic chord shapes like the G, you move them up the neck, they become other chords. And once you learn how to do that, anytime you're in a jam situation, if someone's playing a C, you can play the C here and create a nice harmony instead of copying them and everyone plays the exact same sounding C. So really cool stuff that you can use in your day-to-day playing. So that's in melody C. That's what's coming up in melody C. We're going to continue with the chucking percussive element as well. And there's also going to be a really cool harmonic, except we're going to be doing it like this. And after that, we're going to be covering the little outro or the ending part of this tune, which introduces a retardando, so a natural slow down. So a really cool way we can change tempo and create different fills. We also have a fermata. We're going to talk about that if you've never heard about it as well. So guys, if you want to learn the last half of this tune, you can do so by clicking this link or going to the site rockclass101.com. Do a search for fingerpicking etude number 20. And don't forget, also on that page will be the tabs that you can print off to keep for your records. It's a PDF format, as well as that on-screen tab viewer. So it's the interactive tab player where you can hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time, highlight the bars, loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Really, really cool tool for learning songs much easier. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you in the part 2 one. Take care.